Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boys, Frogan Reactions here.
Yes, it is.
My name's Logan.
My name's Francesco, and we're in a different setting. We're outside today, so we're gonna be doing an in-depth test with the iPhone 13 Pro right here.
So,
And in some tests, we'll be comparing it to the iPhone XR and what's in my pocket, the iPhone 8. We got lots of camera tests, and we're gonna do everything in depth. If you want to skip to a certain section of the video, or you're only interested in certain parts of this test, go in the description. We got chapters with time codes for each individual test.
let's go.
Let's get right into this test. Here we go. Okay, so first of all, we're gonna test the 5G speed. So I'm going to disable Wi-Fi here and make sure we're on LTE. Okay, we're on 5G. I'm gonna start the test. Let's see what we get, and I will show a screenshot of our test to let you know. Oh wow. Okay, that is very good. Oh no, that's worse. Nope, right here seems to be very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, okay,
Yeah.
we got 353 download, and come on, 56.5 upload. I will take a screenshot of that. Now, we're on LTE now. We'll start the test again. And here we go. Here we go. This is taking a while. 177 download speed. And wow, that is brutal. We're getting 7.97. Oh wow, okay, that is just wow.
Terrible.
Terrible, okay. So now we're going to be demoing ProMotion 120 Hz. So on the left we have an iPhone XR running at 60 Hz, and on the right we have the iPhone 13 Pro running at 120 Hz, and it has a variable refresh rate, so it does vary as it moves. But as you can see in Slo-Mo, you can tell that the iPhone XR jumps frames, but on the 13 Pro on the right it looks much smoother. So what a difference 120 Hz makes. Now we're gonna do tests with the telephoto wide and ultra wide photos. We're gonna do tests for all the different, each individual camera right here. So we're gonna take some photos and let you know how that goes. So here we have 3 photos just demoing normal shots on the iPhone 13 Pro with the telephoto on the left, wide in the middle, and ultra wide on the right. Telephoto's at 77mm, the wide is at 26mm, and the ultra wide is at 13mm. Now in this demo we have ProRAW versus normal photos. So on the left you have a normal photo taken on the ultra wide lens on the 13 Pro, and on the right you have that same photo but in ProRAW, shot in ProRAW, and the photo might look to the natural human eye better on the normal versus ProRAW, but what ProRAW does is it gives you a raw image without any iPhone processing. So when a photo is taken on an iPhone, it gets processed after the photo is taken, which you don't see, but it basically makes the image look much nicer. But if you want the complete raw image that the camera takes without any processing, you can get, that's what ProRAW does, so you can later edit it with more customization. Here we just have one demo of a portrait photo, just a quick demo of me with the wide angle lens demoing portrait. Obviously you can tell that it looks much nicer than previous generation phones, so I'd give this 10 out of 10. Okay, so we got Logan in the frame here, and we're going to demo you portrait style. So we'll swipe up and then we'll go here into this menu, and now we got the different styles. We got standard, we got rich contrast, we got vibrant, we got warm, and we got cool. So we're going to take a photo with each one and demo you all the different filters. Now we're taking a look at Photographic Styles that runs on all iPhone 13 models this year, and it's basically different filters for when you take a photo. You have the standard on the left, rich contrast in the middle, and vibrant on the right, and then 2 more, warm on the left, cool on the right. So just some different filters for your photo, nothing totally special. Now we're doing an optical versus digital zoom test. So obviously we have the optical zoom. We can go ultra wide, we can go wide, and we can go telephoto right now loading. And we also have 15x zoom. Very good. Now we got the standard iPhone 8, same exact camera on the iPhone XR. This is a photo at its widest. And we'll zoom in all the way with digital zoom. So now we're comparing a wide-angle photo from the iPhone 8, which is the exact same camera as the iPhone XR. There's no difference at all between those two phones and their camera. And the 13 Pro on the right, again on its wide-angle lens, so at a 1x zoom. And as you can tell, the 13 Pro gets the definite win here. It's a much sharper image, and you get much more detail, as well as colors are a little bit more vibrant. So here we have an iPhone 8 at 5x zoom, which is the most digital zoom you can go on the iPhone 8, and the 13 Pro at 15x zoom, which is the most you can zoom in on that phone. As you can see here, we're getting much more detail even on the 15x, so even zooming in even more, you still get more detail than what the iPhone 8 shows at just 5 times zoom. Now we're comparing digital zoom versus telephoto, which is a more closer comparison. The iPhone 8 has digital zoom up to 5 times, as you can see on the left photo, and on the right photo we have the iPhone 13 Pro on telephoto zoom, so 3 times zoom. And as you can see, the image is much clearer even with a 2 times zoom difference, because since the iPhone 8 is going at its most digital zoom and the 13 Pro is still using optical zoom at 3x on its telephoto lens, so clear win for the 13 Pro. And just for fun, to throw it in, we have an ultra wide photo at 0.5 times optical zoom, so no comparison here because the iPhone 8 doesn't go wider than 1 times, so that was just for fun. Now we're comparing night mode. So here we have the ultra wide camera on the 13 Pro with night mode off on the left and night mode on the right. As you can see, night mode basically brings more light into the photo, and you can really see that here. The trees are a little more lit up in the distance versus the night mode off photo. It's much darker. So if you want a more suspenseful look in your photo, like you're trying to achieve a dark image like this, then obviously you would have night mode off. But night mode on, which is what the average consumer would use, brings in much more light. And here we have night mode on the wide angle lens. It's off on the left and on the right, and in this comparison it's actually more interesting. There's not that much light difference on the road, for example, or in the trees. It's still a little bit clearer on the trees and on the road. It's definitely much clearer with night mode on, but they're still very similar in terms of how much light is getting to the sensor. The only noticeable difference I notice is that in the sky in the background is more blue, more vibrant. On the left with night mode off, it's darker, and considering these photos were taken at night, so the sky was pretty much dark at this point, this is pretty good for even night mode off. And here we have night mode on the telephoto lens at 3x zoom, and again very similar, not much of a light difference, just a little more crisp with night mode on, and obviously the sky is more blue, so more vibrant with night mode on versus night mode off. And here's another comparison with a different photo, night mode on the ultra wide. I'm basically noticing that the ultra wide gives the biggest difference with night mode on versus night mode off, and night mode on provides a much clearer image, more vibrant colors, much better photo overall. Here we have the wide angle lens, same position, just zoomed in with the wide, and not much of a difference, again just getting a little more light on the grass and on the trees a little bit, but other than that it's very similar. Sky is a little bit more warmer in the night mode on photo, and just a little more crisp. And last but not least, the telephoto lens, again a little more warmer image with night mode on versus night mode off, and that's because it's bringing more light into the sensor, and so it's basically just a little more clearer the sky in the background is a little more orangey red versus the left, which is more gray, but still more light is getting in with night mode on. So now we're going to be testing out macro photos. It's a new feature on the iPhone 13 Pro's ultra wide camera. They put new hardware and new lenses in there on the ultra wide lens, so you can get within 2 centimeters of the object that you're taking the photo of, which makes for some beautiful macro photos. But on the iPhone 8, it just struggles to focus. So as you can see here, we have a picture of a leaf, same leaf. iPhone 8 struggles to focus. 13 Pro, beautiful in focus, great image. Next we have another example of the phone in the grass. So the iPhone 8 in the grass, it's not focusing, it's actually focusing on the further away grass strands than the ones close to it. Meanwhile, the 13 Pro is doing the opposite. It's focusing on the ones that are right in front of it because of that macro capability. Then we got a leaf from a plant, and we have the iPhone 8 again out of focus and focusing on the leaves in the background because that's the closest that it can focus on, and the 13 Pro doing the exact opposite, keeping the leaves in front focused and the ones in the back blurred out for a bokeh effect. And finally we have a picture of a sunflower, and as you can see here, again iPhone 8 struggles to focus, not in focus, and the 13 Pro is beautiful and in focus, and you can actually get quite more closer than I was in this photo. So very cool feature. We're checking out cinematic mode here, and look at the blur on this. I can even go full 360 around Logan, and we got beautiful. Okay, yep. We got the grunting face here now. And that is a beautiful demo of cinematic mode. So we're using the wide angle lens, and this has optical image stabilization video. I have no gimbal on this phone. I am just normal walking with the handheld device, and that is the wide angle lens. Now we're using the telephoto lens, and the telephoto lens has just regular optical image stabilization, and I'm again just holding it with the one hand, so it should be a little more shaky. No gimbals being used here. And that is a demo of the Telephoto 3x zoom on optical image stabilization. So here we're comparing the wide angle lens with sensor shift OIS versus the telephoto lens with just regular optical image stabilization. And as you can see, just by walking around, the sensor shift OIS is much better in terms of stabilization on video. So clear win for the wide sensor with sensor shift OIS. So now we are testing the 4K comparison between an iPhone 8 and an iPhone 13 Pro on the wide lens. And I say iPhone 8 because the iPhone XR will not have enough storage to record 4K, but rest assured, because the iPhone XR has the exact same camera, like copy and paste with the iPhone 8. And now we got Logan in the background there. So this is just a 4K comparison. That was a few bounces. Now if I do some camera shake, see the optical image stabilization versus sensor shift OIS, quite a difference. And that is our comparison. Now we are doing a 1080p comparison, same as before, but except instead of 4K, we're doing 1080p between the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 13 Pro on the wide lens. Like I said before, iPhone XR and iPhone 8 have the exact same camera lenses as each other. And now I'm walking, and then when I turn around, we'll test out the image stabilization yet again. Should be the same, it's just lesser quality. Woo! And now I'm going to run with this, and that is the stabilization, 1080p. As you can see here, it is a little bit cloudy, so that doesn't do it justice, but this is a video 4K test with HDR on. Now we're gonna try out Slo-Mo on the iPhone 8 versus the iPhone 13 Pro. Let's get right into this test. Now here we're demoing Slo-Mo video on the iPhone 8 versus the iPhone 13 Pro. Basically the only difference I'm noticing is that the 13 Pro is allowing more light on the sensor as well as a much clearer image versus on the iPhone 8 the image is a little grainy, not as clear, not as vibrant as the 13 Pro. But other than that, there's not much advancements on the Slo-Mo video on both iPhones, so really close. Here we're demoing macro video on the iPhone 13 Pro. The iPhone 13 Pro is shooting in HDR. The iPhone 8 does not have any macro capability, so as you can see when we try and get close to an object, the iPhone 13 Pro does a great job of its macro capabilities, and the iPhone 8 struggles to focus on, for example, the brick we just saw here. And now if we go into the grass, as you can see, the iPhone 8 again struggling to focus, while the iPhone 13 Pro is getting beautiful video shot with HDR. It is shot on the ultra wide angle lens because that's the only lens that provides the macro capabilities. So that's been our tests for the iPhone 13 Pro. We did lots of tests. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and we will be filming a video a month later, 1 month with the iPhone 13 Pro, and my thoughts and things I found out along the way as using the iPhone over time. So check that out probably later in October or November. But
don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.
yes.
What was your favorite part?
Yes, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our videos. We're also doing a night mode time-lapse test, which will be at the end of the video. So stick around to the end, and we hope you enjoyed today's video, and cue that night mode time-lapse. Peace!